up with Charlie, well, nobody knows. It's always the same when you come back home.
Hey, Tony talking trash back in tonight for one of the behemoth, or whatever you want to say, one of the giants. I guess they're giant in a different way. Also, one of the more malleable bands, representing a lot of different styles throughout the years, going from strictly blues to where they were started into a more of a, I guess, a little bit progressive and a little heavier thing through the mid period, then into a total pop glory top of the chart period, and then kind of weaning off with a fragmented uh, journey with people that aren't members of the band, and now they're kind of in a status where they're going out where most of the people are involved in. I'm talking about the great Fleetwood Mac. I've done a review of Lindsey Buckingham's record before. I'm a big fan of Lindsey. I think he's a superb talent. But that's what most people think about when they think about Fleetwood Mac. But the truth of it is, I think first of all, Peter Green, and the band started really named after Fleetwood and John McVie, who wasn't even in the band yet to start with. And but they started a British blues band. They picked up Jeremy Spencer to start with, and you end up now, if you get the members, and you got Jeremy Spencer, Danny Kerwin, Bob Welch. I mean, all of them are fantastic. And I am going to do another countdown about Bob Welch solo records, who I think include his band Paris, who I thought was a really underlooked, kind of glamish type of a band, with some of the other key members of bands that I like Jethro Tull and Todd and Naz and stuff. And of course, then you got the Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, who took John McVie's last name, but at the time was Christine Perfect. And they kind of moved from a blues band into a pop band, and really Christine McVie did it in a very smooth way. But all kind of problems, some of the big problems towards the end of the Bob Welch deal were almost unbelievable. And and they ended up with Stevie Nicks. They ended up with a horseshoe up there. You know what? And they ended up getting. If you look at the story, you look at how the band went. Pretty amazing. I think I've told you before. I used to play drums in a couple bands, and I played at Mick Fleetwood's place down in Alexandria, Virginia, sometime. And people didn't realize it was his, and I did when I first got it. It was Fleetwood's. I think I told you guys this story before, but anyway, I was playing with the band there. And he was, and there's some guy sitting in the corner. It was him. I didn't realize he's in a long trench coat, down like that. I thought it kind of looked like a bum. I never made the connection. So we're playing jazz and we do this, and I come back and I'm outside. We're outside for the break, and I hear toong toong. Somebody's playing my drums. I'm like, somebody's playing. What are they playing my drums for? Go up there, and then it was the owner, and he wasn't on it anymore. But somebody whispered to me it was the owner, and I started whispering. They said, we don't even care if something. And I was kind of in shock. I'm like, oh my God, I realized that this is his place. So it was a strange evening. But we used to get these gigs sometime. My friend Ariel down there, if Ariel will see this, and I had Andre who was a bass player here from Hungary, who played with us on some of these gigs. Crazy days. But anyway, let me think. We're talking about Fleetwood Mac. How did I get this? But anyway, I love Fleetwood Mac. I love the different eras of them. I do think it's a little bit of a disgrace the way they go out the door with some of these other members, and some of the stuff happened. But Peter Green started from John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and Mick Fleetwood joined the Blues Breakers. So they met through there. So they really, Green, Fleetwood, and McVie met through Mayall. And boom, after that, you've got Fleetwood Mac. So Fleetwood Mac starts out on the blues thing. You guys can see the deal about Peter Green and what happened with him, and the way he, detested, at some point, he allegedly overdid the psychedelic thing. They try to blame it for that. There was clearly some mental illnesses that evidence itself later, and we'll talk about that. And I will do a Peter Green countdown. Uh, but it really played large here, and they were kind of at loose ends. I know that when Bob Welch described Peter Green at the time, he really wasn't too aware of what was going on. And you've heard the stories about him threatening his accountant for sending him money. And he wrote the song "The Green Mona Lisa." It was a huge hit for Judas Priest, and I think it's the best thing Fleetwood Mac ever did. When you see the interplay between Kerwin's guitar and Peter Green's guitar, and it's written like that. But Jeremy plays a part in it too. But those guys are the guys that play off each other with those little riffs. Da 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 da. I love that stuff. It's beautiful stuff. Um, but anyway, it's really a desire against money and against fame, and that's kind of where he was coming from. So at that time, the band kind of went into a different period where Danny Kerwin and then Christina Perfect comes in the band, and Bob Welch makes it in, and then we go on down to Lindsay and move forward, and then the fight between him and Stevie, and there we are. But anyway, I'm going to read down my 18 favorite records. They are different areas of different eras. As I say, I think the discography is. When I look to my first one, I'm going to have number 18. I'm going to go to 1990, and I'm going to go to 1990 with Behind the Mask, 1990 record. The one that is the tan record, if you know, the song Save Me, Sky's the Limit. Hard Feelings. It's just a completely different situation with that. Lindsey Gone, Billy Burnett, Rick Vito, and you know what I think about Lindsey, so I really am a big fan of him. He did play on one of the tracks, but I just don't think the personnel here really had it going on. Stevie Nicks, Christy McVie was in, but after that, you've got the rhythm section too, and I just think Vito and Burnett, to me, it was a big shock. So that's kind of why I have this at number 18. I just felt like even the Stevie song, Affairs of the Heart, the song with Mike Campbell, Freedom, is actually kind of, to me, it's a little bit of embarrassing. I can't believe they put that in. Christine McVie's Sky's the Limit was the lead off single on this, but that was the second one. Save Me was the first. But again, I remember when it came out, I just am not impressed with it. I would really rate it low. I would rate it at probably only two out of 5 stars. And there's also some other ones that I'm going to go for here now. I'm going to move up to 1995 for the next one, number 17, and that is the Confused Time. Got the number 47. It really was a big change here. Unique lineup for the band. Daughter of Delaney and Bonnie, Becca Bramlett is in the band, and Stevie's out of this. And Dave Mason from Traffic is in the band now. They've had a lot of people here, but it's just, to me, this one is really almost at the same part. I mean, you've got Talking to My Heart. This is just a different band. The Christine McVie song's not bad. They're really the only thing on there. Christine McVie is the only thing that really has it holding on here. You've got just, you got the rhythm section and Christine, and everything else is new. Becca Bramlett's not going to be, she's great for what she is, but to substitute for Stevie Nicks, this is a time period that you look at here and say, why didn't they stop before this? It's okay to go and do shed tours as the band and play your hits. You've got plenty of hits you could do that with. Roll out the same things. You don't need these new lineups. And now I guess they're having trouble with the latest things happened after that. Let's move to number 16. I did have a list a little bit higher, but I'm going to have to eventually concede here that the 2003 one, which I thought charted a lot higher, was better. Say You Will was it was the first albums without McVie. McVie was not in it, but Lindsay and Stevie played keyboards, so it was kind of more of a collaborative thing between those two. And it just, I don't know if you can pick up for the friction or where the friction had, but Peacekeeper, Say You Will, I just didn't think any of the spark happened. Now, maybe the touring, maybe the other thing had. Lindsay's songs are okay, but they sound like they were normalized. I count on Lindsay's solo records to show a different side and a little bit less moved down here, a little bit less chained down like they are here. And I think they are. Murrow turning over in his grave is something you'd never, it probably would be something more apropos for Lindsay's things. Miranda, Red Rover, Peacekeeper's decent, but Steal Your Heart Away, Destiny Rules for Nix, and Goodbye Baby are not, I don't think are very strong. Silver Girl is a kind of a takeoff for the next thing about silver springs or whatever. It's just it's not it just wasn't working. Let's go to number 15. And a number 15 record, as you may be surprised, is the last record that we had from the Bob Welch lineup. And this is Heroes Are Hard to Find. You look at the four of them in the back and you realize what they had been through with this. This record is a low point for this band. You will see that, as far as the personnel goes, what do you got? You got Bob, who came in, but I don't think the songs are that great on this record. This is one of the earliest ones that to me was really surprising. But the interesting thing was it came on the heels of this fake Fleetwood Mac band performing in the States. So these guys would come and play live and they said, "Oh, we saw your band here before." He's like, it was a completely different one here. They had a manager, Clifford Davis, who ended up, and you can look for it on YouTube for a good explanation of this, but essentially organized a completely new lineup that went out and played Fleetwood Mac music. This is how big of a diss that it actually was. Now the playing is okay. I like Coming Home is a good Bob song. Angel, Bermuda Triangle. It's a nice little bit there, but the Christine Smith song, Heroes Are Hard to Find, is okay. It's okay song. I didn't like She's Changing Me. The second side, Not Crazy, is crazy. Silver Heels, not bad. And Welsh kind of takes over this, but for once, the songs really aren't that inspiredly put together. I don't think they spend a lot of time. If you hear, especially his parts and that, it sounded to me like they wanted to get this thing recorded and go on. But you've got Christine doing the ARP, and it's really just a four-piece. Mick, John, and Christine and Bob Welch, and you can see here that it's just to me a dreary affair. Never really comes to life. They had a lot of problems. Essentially the guitar player that was in before comes after Fleetwood's wife, and it's it was just unbelievable. So, but anyway, that's it, and that's my number 15. Heroes Are Hard to Find. Let's go with number 14. I'm going to go with number 14, which is a more of a pop effort. There was a hell of a lot more pop pressure at this time. I'm talking about, and I can't forget this record when it came out. It came out towards the end of when I was really working in record stores. I'm talking about Tango in the Night. It was a number one record, but the truth of it is, you look into the record a little bit, and it's very fragile. It's like an egg. There's not a whole lot to this album. It's a 43-minute album. Big Love, of course, was the single. Little Lies of course, was a huge song, and you still hear that Christine McVie deal. And it's just amazing they ever would try to move forward after that point, because I think she's more embedded. Christine is more embedded in the style of Fleetwood Mac than even Stevie Nicks is. Stevie Nicks is a voice. I don't feel, since she's not an instrumentalist, that she has as much penetrable control over Fleetwood Mac as Christine does. But anyway, the lineup is this is the final time they all work together, and they're talking about Lindsay, Stevie, Christine, and John McVie and Mick Fleetwood. It's a shame because this is a decent record, but at the same time, you can feel it kind of bursting at the seams. It got decent. It got decent. Big Love, of course, it sounds more like a Lindsay thing. I love it. I love Caroline too. It's beautiful. Just title track's okay. Little Lies, of course, was a huge single. Welcome to the Room, Sarah. It's a little jarring there, but it's you've got Nick's with Buckingham. When I See You Again, kind of a sentimental thing there, and like the record Tango in the Night, 1987. What am I going to give it? 3. I mean, it's during the LA periods or whatever. But let's talk about now what you'd think would be a live record, but it's really not a live record. We're talking about a 2 record set, Fleetwood Mac in Chicago, 1969. And this is a complete blues-based thing. And I love this, but I'm not saying that this is in the top. I don't think anybody could, the way it was presented and the way it has, is really say, hey, this is the best one, unless you're just purely looking at this for a blues thing. Because you've got such great people. Otis Spann, Willie Dixon, Shaky Horton, Homeboy Edwards, S.P. Leary, Guitar Buddy, and Peter Green and the Watch Out and Ooh Baby and South in Indiana. You've got some beautiful instrumental stuff. Red Hot Jam. They're just Jam City. I mean, is this? It's certainly more of a record than something like Jamming with Edward is, or something like Apple Scruffs or whatever the last Apple Jam. It's jamming, but these are more songs and these are more completely released things. So these are produced really by Mike Vernon, and these were on the CBS label. I know this is mine is a Sire version, but this is a really good record, and it's an overlooked record. And of course, some anything Peter Green touches, as far as I'm concerned, is gold. So, and Peter's really playing at good times there. But I think it wasn't too long after that tour where things started to go a little bit haywire. And talking about haywire, let's talk about haywire here for a second. Where did I put that damn other one? Here's what I want to talk to you about. If you ever get a chance to get this compilation is a MFer here, man. Fleetwood Mac Greatest Hits, the original one on Columbia. And you've got the front here, and then you've got John McVie just pounding it out there in the back. But look at the set list, man. Albatross, Green Monalishi, Dragonfly. I mean, Man of the World. This is Rattlesnake Shake. I mean, this is a lot of non-LP on here. Superb. The greatest, well, a lot of times when you're approaching the door of madness, you can make some of your best art of all time. Let's go to another Bob Welch record. And I don't want to put them down really that far because I'd like him, but at the same time, I can't say where we're at with this big crew here. And this is the guy that soon thereafter would make a play for Mick Fleetwood's wife and would end everything. This is the big band that preceded the flip out that I talked about, which was Heroes Are Hard to Find. And here they are. Look at that motley crew there. It's all of them. Look at all these guys. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about Fleetwood Mac Penguin. I'm talking about the players. Mick Fleetwood, John McVie, Bob Welch, Bob Weston, Dave Walker, Steve Nye. I mean, never was a touring group of this big of a situation, but yeah, Penguin, baby, and welcome to Warner Brothers Records. And the songs were okay. Remember Me, I'm a Road Runner, though their version of I'm a Road Runner. To me, I it's almost like, well, Jeremy's not here. We got to cover for him. I don't know that you do, but anyway. And then you got a weird song, The Derelict, which opens off side 2, which is Dave Walker's song, which is kind of strange. And Bob Welch, Revelation. There, you start to see, what you have here, Night Watch, and you've got a Bob Weston song, Caught in the Rain. And, Good and pleasant music, but honestly, nothing stand out where you say, God, this is a classic or something. I would say, yeah, I'm going to make a best of Fleetwood Mac. Am I going to go here anywhere? I could go to a couple songs, but I'm not inclined so much to think, and certainly not the normal person would not, but I do think it has a consistency that's better, significantly better than the vibe that was on Heroes Are Hard to Find. So it would, I'd go to 3.5 here. Now, what I'm going to go to the next one here is going to be on a different record cover than what I have. And Joe, you can put up the original one here, but it's Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. I have it on a thing called Black Magic Woman here, which is a compilation that states it's the first record of this. And I also have Mr. Wonderful on here. And if you look at that, it's an early shot of the band. Look how young Spencer looks, man. He looks really, really young. Uh, but there was back in clear thinking times before, it came into play, and a young thin Danny Kerwin's there. This was it, man. I mean, this was a good band. This was a band that you could really have playing. And I think Danny was young, and Danny had come alongside Peter Green. Wowee, man. My heart beat like a hammer, merry-go-round, long gray mare. Hellhound on my trail, shake your money maker, looking for somebody. The world keep on turning. You really didn't hear enough of as things move forward. Peter Green was, like I say, like the guy says in the video, you need to watch it. Peter Green was a top man. Well, he was at the time, when they're talking about the Munich LSD thing here, which happened a little bit later. But this was early on, man, and this is just straight up blues. This is a good blues thing. Is it white? Yeah. Is it authentic? I think it's pretty authentic with Peter. I think Peter cut pretty good. If he has a BB King always said Peter Green had the sweetest tone. He made him sick. And I agree. I think his tone at the peak of it was really good. But we're going to also talk later about his solo career. And when you trace his solo career, there's not really you're really chasing vapors the whole time, pretty much. I mean, he's the Peter Green, which was, at the peak of that, and you listen to some of those tapes from the USA, the tour and stuff, when they were something from there happened. They peaked about that time. Green Monalishi, something peaked around the time of Dragonfly and all these different ones. Something peaked there, and Albatross, of course. You think Albatross is so simple, and it is, but. What a different, I'm thinking back of that. And it's just amazing to me that you're talking about Fleetwood Mac and it means so much to so many different people. Let's move on here and let's move on to a little bit more of a, not the last one, well, one of the last ones that the bands had together. And you've got the two gals and Lindsay on front and the band's namesake on the back. Decent record. Definitely a record at this point where you're saying it was 5 years before the next one, and it was recorded. It took them about a year. Gypsy, of course, probably was her strongest position. You hate to say this, but it was. Oh, Diane, can't go back. Hold me. Gypsy was a big one though, and she had just had Stevie. Had just had Belladonna, so. I mean, it was kind of in the cards where the power shift was going to happen, and it did by here. And you still see the penguin there that's on there. Neat little art thing at the bottom of that, which I think is cool. Which is kind of the last vestige of any of that. I mean, from this point on, how much of it was really a natural, just like, hey, dudes, let's make a record. Do you realize how much stuff is in the way when you're this big? How hard it is to even get shit together? Because unfortunately, a lot of other hands are in the way for the money, and a lot of it, everything becomes a compromise. Everything becomes a deal, and it just kind of sucks. I'm going to go back, Joe. I'll put the other one. It's the other part of Black Magic Woman that I had here. I'm going to talk about the great Mr. Wonderful, which is superb. You got the crazy looking cover, as you can see, but. And Mick was never very shy to if it would sell a record to make fun of himself. But it ended up in UK big thing number 10, and August of 1968. And just, great record. And then horn section was introduced for a little while, and then all of a sudden you get Christine comes in, and Christine starts to come in on this. Some people don't really like this one. Uh, you know, I don't know. I mean, you got the Elmore James "Dust My Broom," which is kind of Snoozeville, and "I Lost My Baby," Jeremy Spencer, and you've got you've got a high deal Spencer, Evening Boogie, "If You Be My Baby," Lazy Poker, Trying So Hard to Forget. Blues record, decent record. I just don't think the record is. I don't think it's really some of their best stuff, and I think they just kind of turned out what they had at the time. And but it's still, the sincerity and the honesty of that early playing to me still far supersedes stuff that you have here. I mean, you've got songs "Stop Messing Around," of course, "Rollin' Man," which was one of Green's great ones. Uh, I think he's great. "Lazy Poker Blues" was a big one. Hard was a big one too. So you're talking big record here. For them overseas, didn't register a damn thing here. But you're moving on from that, and let's go to 1970 next. And let me see if I got it here. I don't know if I have it here or not. I think I do. Let's see where it is. Hold on. I do not have it here in front of me. I thought I had. I'm talking about 1970, and this is a critical record here. This is a critical record in the sequence of things. I'm talking about after Fleetwood Mac in Chicago, then play on Kiln House. And it's a strange cover. You've got the strange drawn cover here. Can you put that up there, Joe? I don't know where mine is. I know that I had it. But, Peter Green was gone, and the band felt at that point they were kind of moving around, moving forward. And I think they really tried harder with this band, with this thing. I think, Christine Perfect was there, and she was signed to Blue Horizon also. And I think it's a strong record. You've got Danny Kerwin, really, even though the guy claims Danny Kerwin's mentally ill from this point on. Well, he did Judy on here, a version of Hi Ho Silver, of course. Jeremy Spencer had been in Blood on the Floor. This is the Rock. He tried to take control of the first side, but to me, it's really the Kerwin stuff that's the best stuff. The instrumental Earl Grey, man, just great. I mean, it really worked with him. Tell me all the things you do, but there's a lot. Jeremy really kind of took over this, and this was during the time that I thought that, and it's a shame it wasn't on the record. It wasn't on Kiln House, but I love Dragonfly, and Dragonfly, of course, you're going to see it show up in my list. But that's it from 1970, man. Kiln House and band in kind of a fragile state post Peter Green, but they didn't realize how good a hands they actually had it in. Let's talk about 72. The next one, if you're moving on, just a slight bit here, and you will find. Let me see here. You will find that the next proper. Hold on a second here, man. The next proper record that came, it wasn't the next one from here. It was, hold on one second, man. It was we're talking about 1972. I'm talking about Bare Trees. I'm sorry, I'm flipping around my cards. Thing there. Beautiful record too. Here you've got Bob Welch and Danny Kerwin both. And I don't know the story. Somebody can figure out what the story was, but you've got Danny Kerwin about every other song, and I think this is one of the absolute best things that he did. Christine McVie, then "Spare Me a Little of Your Love," but "Dust," Danny's chant, "Bare Trees." Oh, this song. It's just he had something with him. Danny Kerwin had something I absolutely admire in the sound of. It's just as beautiful as Peter Green. And you've got you've got the first Bob Welch song, and then you've got, of course, "You Are Here and Warm," Sentimental Lady, man. This is the beginning of Sentimental Lady, Bob Welch. So, yeah, great new talent introduced to the band. And you better believe you'd see more of him, and you're going to hear more from me too, and both not this countdown, but the other countdown. Number 7, that's Bare Trees. Number 6, we're going to go to the probably the most expensive and what's overblown and criticized records of all time. The follow-up to Rumors, the Cocaine in the Studio masterpiece. No, I don't know, rap masterpiece, man. Tusk. This is Lindsay off the rails from what everybody was saying. Lindsay decided he was not going to give the record company what they wanted. They were going to do their thing. Kind of got a, he was a big Brian Wilson fan, so I don't know if they did Farmer's Daughter during this time. I think it was one of the times that they played that, but I know that he was extremely influenced by him, and that's how that worked. But of course, the song Tusk with the band, you heard that Angel over and over. It was a big one. Of course, Sarah, huge. But everybody thinks it should have been one record, and they're probably right. When you look about it, you think, I love it. If this was in the Lindsay catalog, it would rank higher because I would expect it. But this is one where Lindsay said, we're not going to do anything normal. And he had the power at that time because he wrote all the great songs on the other one and kind of a Stevie's man and whatever happened. But this was recorded for a long period of time at the Village of Recorders. There's all kind of photos. You guys know all the photos inside. Old track listing and stuff. It's just nothing like it, man. People talk about this record. They say, how'd you'd like to make your Tusk? Well, I guess, when you think about that, what do they mean by that? Well, they mean self-indulgent. They mean a self-indulgent trip. And certainly it is known as at the peak of the studio days, when things aren't really made anymore that way. And they don't make records anymore like that. People living in the studio, and that was kind of the end of it. All right, man, while we're talking about it, let's talk about the big gamble that paid off. And this is the number 2, man. Surprisingly, I don't have the number 1 of them that did. I'm talking about. Of course I am. I don't have to say it. Fleetwood Mac Rumors. This is a huge record. You know all about it, man. You know the songs. You know the band. That's basically every single song on this. Dreams, Secondhand News, Never Going Back Again, Don't Stop, of course. Go Your Own Way, God, man. This is just pop masterpiece here when you think about The Chain. You Make Love and Fun, every song, but Oh Daddy, Gold Dust Woman. What do you say? I'm not going to lay any more plaudits on it. I think in certain ways it's overrated, but and overplayed, much in the same way I think the Eagles is. But that's number 5, buddy, and that is Rumors 1977. Now I'm going to come into a really surprise one. People that are not going to think that I'm going to put this up this high, but I have always adored this record. And I'm talking about the cover that can't be explained. Mystery to me. Bob Welch time, baby. This is a good record. This is before things went off the rails. This is when you had Bob Weston on the lead guitar, working very well with Bob Welch. Exactly what he needed a guitar player to play off him before he made the move for Mick's wife. It's just astonishing that he would even do that. But you look at him, John McVie, Bob Welch, of course, Christine here. Christine really was important. And this is a Martin Birch production. That's what makes it a little different. It's Martin Birch, and you wouldn't think that on this record. But the songs here you have with it. Emerald Eyes, of course. Just Crazy Love. And, of course, Bob Welch is Hypnotized. Super good. Keep on going. Good things come to those who wait. Why? Miles Away. Somebody. I love this record, man. Everything has to do with your history. Well, what's your history with it? Well, my history at the time was, I somehow heard it and not shortly thereafter it was released. I guess it was a release date, 1973. I'm supposing I probably heard it before sometime in the period before, Rumors and Fleetwood Mac, the next Fleetwood Mac thing happened. But that's what we got at number 4, Mystery to Me. And while we're talking about it, let's talk about Fleetwood Mac, Fleetwood Mac. Let's talk about Fleetwood Mac, Fleetwood Mac, because as I've said before many, many times, I would certainly rank Fleetwood Mac, the Fleetwood Mac self-titled record, the first record that the new, that the new quint or quartet came into before I would Rumors. I've always thought it was stronger. And if you look at this, you've got Mystery to Me, then you've got The Bad Time of Heroes Are Hard to Find, a really difficult situation for them. And if you think about it, they actually have their manager putting out a competing version before you get these two people in the band. You get these people in the band, and then the arrangements all of a sudden have a lot more space and they're not strumming and move through. You've got Over My Head. Lindsay starts to be a Warm Ways, Rihanna, and of course, Say You Love Me. I mean, to me, this is the one that started off. I think this is the best. I think this is their best showing. I think it surprised people. Crystal, I love, and of course, Landslide, even for the Dixie Chicks, was a huge hit. I'm So Afraid, World Tour. I just think it's highly underrated. I know Rumors was more well known. I know it was, but to me, the Fleetwood Mac, the self-titled record from 1975, is my number 3, so it gets the nod at number 3, and the Rumors is my number 5. At number 2, here's going to be a big surprise for everyone. At number 2, my favorite record at number 2 is Future Games, 1971. You're saying you've got to be kidding me. I'm not kidding you. This is when you got both Bob Welch here and Danny Kerwin at the top. This is a special sauce, baby. I like this period of time. This, to me, is it. Woman of 1,000 Years. You've got Future Games, of course, Bob Welch writing with his style and his spacing. You can clearly hear harmonically as something on the thread, and I'll talk about that later in his thing, that goes all the way through the Paris stuff, all the way almost to the end. Records at the end were a little bit, came out of it sometimes, but the second side of this, man, Sands at times, sometimes, and then Lay It All Down, Bob Welch. I mean, that's a killer. Show Me a Smile at the end. Just great. Wowee, woo wow. This is it, man. And this is 1971, and this is damn near my favorite. This is my favorite post Peter Green period. I love it. I love this record. I could play this record all day long. And let's talk about the record that has it all. No, it doesn't have Green Mondelisi. It doesn't. But I'm talking about, you've seen the cover. You've seen the iconic cover. You've seen the beautiful. And here they are, man. To me, this is the period. To me, this, you want to know what my favorite period is? Here it is. Right here. Right here. Danny Kerwin, Peter Green, Jeremy Spencer, and the Chaps. Something else, man. Coming your way, closing my eyes. Oh well. Rattlesnake Shake. Searching for Madge, fighting for Madge, like crying before the beginning. Even Jeremy on this is brilliant. I mean, he doesn't annoy me near as what he did on the other records. It's just, this is really them coming to terms. And, if you want to talk about mental health, and you want to talk about where Peter went after this, came on the American tour, and a lot of people said, he was exposed to it that way. There certainly are some audio evidence of that. There's a couple New Orleans shows that I've heard, kind of like that Magic Velvet Underground show, everybody talks about. I mean, if you get that, I've told you before, you get that Robert Quine box set, you can clearly hear the One Night. And I think it's the same thing here. I mean, the guy, like Bob Welch said, he had cheese in his hair for 4 or 5 days. I mean, point where you've heard him calling about his accountant because he's sending money, and heard him trying to get all the band to give all their money away, and started to really have trouble. And so at the point, and then he stopped playing music altogether, and the band rolled on, as you see. We'll take up that Peter Green story a little bit later, and the same thing with Bob Welch. If you guys have any thoughts about the Mighty Mac, let me know, man. I still have a great admiration for this band. I mean, I don't think, I would go out to see another one. I'm not one of these greatest hits tour kind of guy. To see that, I can understand how it would have the potential. But now you've got like one of the Finn guys from Crowded Houses in it and different stuff. It's to me, it's not really kind of a touring concern, and depends on what you like, man. I like Lindsay's last record a lot better than worrying about going out and hearing Rihanna for the 10,000th time or whatever. But then some people, you want to hear your good songs. I heard John Anderson last night, so that was a lot of fun. Not the country, John Anderson. Yes, Close to the Edge blew me away. Thank you, everybody. Let me know about Fleetwood Mac. A lot of people love the Mac, baby. They like the one kind of Mac. They like the other kind of Mac. Some people like the mac and cheese. Some people like the macaroni salad. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't. I don't. It's a different situation, and I don't like. There is a part of it you wonder, and I know that Fleetwood's allegedly made some financial things, so maybe that has something to do with some financial things in this. But I would just rather not see. I mean, go ahead and play your sheds, do your tours, whatever. But I would just rather not see them desecrate this catalog with any more recordings. Like we said, I think "Say You Will" in 2003 was supposed to be the cap off. In some ways, I understand why people would rank it a little higher than what I have it at 16. But anyway, leave your thoughts below. We love you guys tuning in. Please leave all your thoughts below. All of them. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. How many times am I going to say hit the like button? No, please do. Please help us out with that. It would help things out. It doesn't cost anything. We really appreciate you being here. And we will catch you again soon to finish this up with my little list of favorite Mac songs. And it's going to be kind of hard when you think about it. I'll probably have 20 or 25 probably. We'll think. I'll see where it gets down to. Catch y'all later, man. Leave your comments. Love you. Love having you around, guys. Take care.